Welcome back to the Barrel Talk Podcast. We are back with another episode 144. Joined here with Nick Wynn on the call. How we doing?
Doing all right, man. How are you?
Ecstatic.
Oh.
Ecstatic. Connor not on the pod today. Go figure.
He's ducking.
Go figure. I ain't never seen somebody duck so much.
Left me here to defend for myself.
Duck. I mean, y'all lucky my dad at work today.
I'm ready for the day he's going to come on and scream at us for 20 minutes.
Yeah. But he ain't been wrong yet.
Yeah.
Another week of football in the books. Start out.
Another crazy week.
We can start on Thursday night. Terrible game. Jets, Patriots. Jets look good, though. Aaron Rodgers look good.
Yes.
I mean, Alan Lazard is like halfway the one right now.
Yeah. That Garrett Wilson-Aaron Rodgers connection just does not... The chemistry's not there yet. The chemistry's just not there yet. Hopefully they get it over time, but Aaron Rodgers did look really good. He was getting out of the pocket. He's running. He's spreading the ball to like 9-10 different receivers. It was good. I mean, obviously against the Patriots, what are we going to do? But good game. Finally, they look good.
Yeah. Comparing this to how everybody looked at him and Kirk to Achilles injuries week 1 and 2, everybody was like, well, they look like statues in the pocket.
Yeah, well,
they can't move.
Falcons and Jets, done.
Yeah, give them some time. Both of them, movement-wise, have looked a lot better in the play-action game. Aaron Rodgers getting out of the pocket, which is what he does best in throwing on the run. But I just kind of think the Jets are going to get better over time. I think the continuity still needs to grow. Like, this still is Aaron Rodgers' first year with them. It's not like he played half the year and then got hurt last year.
Exactly.
And I think looking at this, I think one of the things I do really, really like is the two-headed backfield that they do have in Braden Allen and Bryce, not just having one. I feel like every team needs to have at least two competent backs now. But looking at that, you're able to use Bryce Hall more in the receiving game more than ever because you have confidence in Braden Allen, at least from what it looks like to start the year, which I like to see, especially as like a fantasy owner who has Braden Allen picked up in a couple leagues.
Yeah, 100%. The main example I think of is literally week 1, Lions versus Rams. We saw in the fourth quarter, Jahmyr Gibbs got all the touches. David Montgomery didn't touch the ball. We see Jahmyr Gibbs tiring down that defense. And then by overtime, we saw that the Rams defense basically had nothing to say. And then they brought out David Montgomery, who hasn't touched the ball in 15 minutes, 20 minutes of game time. And we saw him slash down the field in like 7 plays. Mm-hmm. Got like 80 rushing yards and scored a touchdown to win the game. So yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think teams need to do a better job at finding 2 competent bags so you can at least take the pressure off one guy and bring in 2 different fresh bodies to tire out defenses nowadays.
Unless you're Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey,
right,
upper echelon, those guys who you obviously just want in the game at all times that can do both at the elite level, you should probably have 2 guys.
Yeah. And even now, I mean, we see kind of the repercussions of that with CMC's injuries. If they would have just maybe split his time between Elijah Mitchell and is Jordan Mason a rookie? I don't know if he was there last year, but if they would have split his time between those guys last year and the last few years, maybe we wouldn't be having the CMC problem right now.
Mm-hmm. Tyler Conklin also had a good game. Somebody who the Jets were always looked at least going into the draft, where they're positioned, where I'm pretty sure they picked at 10. The question was about should they take Brock Bowers, just another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. But if you can get just solid enough production from Conklin with what you're getting from Lazard, Mike Williams seems to be hitting the corner and getting back healthy. Like, the receiving room is getting better and better as the games go on. Mm-hmm. And if Rodgers continues to just be able to find movement throughout the offense and getting out of the pocket, I think this Jets team could still be really, really dangerous. The only thing I still have a problem with, they need to figure out what they're doing with Hassan Reddick. I think because they don't really still have that pass rusher. Yeah. And you played the Patriots and you played the Titans, 2 teams that you should just beat on your schedule. What's going to happen when they play a good team? So, and then I think they have Denver next week. So, like, looking at it, like, they need to get some sort of pass rush because in that Niners game, they couldn't pressure Brock Purdy at all and they got killed for it.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. They need to figure out something. They're going to get carved up by Bo Nix if not.
Yeah.
Because that defense has looked suspect except this past week against the Patriots. But yeah, things are looking up. I think they're only going to get better. That offense is only going to do better over time. Mm-hmm. You just got to hope that the defense stays healthy. And yeah, hopefully they figure out something with Hassan Reddick. I haven't heard any good signs, though.
Going into Sunday slate of games, we can go into talking about Deshaun Watson. They lose to the Giants at home. Is it officially washed?
I think so.
I
I said
think it
this at
has
the
to be.
beginning of the year. I think Deshaun Watson is not good at football. I don't think he cares. I didn't watch most of this game.
Mhm.
It didn't interest me at all, but I don't have to watch it to know that Deshaun Watson played terrible.
This was also one of the games that like kind of got phased off of red zone at times just because nothing was happening throughout the game. And then looking at it, I was only paying attention because I do have Amari Cooper in some fantasy leagues.
Oh, me
so
too.
I wanted to see if Amari Cooper was, getting back to life, and he was this week. But I just feel like it's gonna be a situation like last year to where they're gonna be like sub 500. They're gonna be like 3-4, 3-5, or something around that realm. And then all of a sudden, like Deshaun Watson's gonna get this knick-knack injury, and then Jameis is gonna come in, and they're gonna win like 3 games.
And then he's shut down for the year.
Yes, I think you were right about that. Taking more that I'm looking at it, you said something about at the start of the year, Jameis playing or Deshaun Watson getting benched, and then the Browns going on a little run like they did last year. The vibes just aren't good. Like they're just not. I understand their O-line's banged
they're getting
up.
booed all the time.
Yes.
All I hear is the announcer say, "Oh, and there's some boos coming from the Cleveland crowd on a first down from Cleveland." Like they did something good, and it's only boos. So, yeah, no, the vibes are not high. The defense is gonna defense.
Yeah.
You know that, but when you have Malik Neighbors on the other side doing what he does, goddamn, then you're cooked.
Yeah, this doesn't really need to take too much time because I just feel like we knew the writing on the wall. Like
Giants play our Cowboys next week. Don't let them win. Don't let the Giants beat the Cowboys.
Y'all on the road.
Yeah, we are on the road. Yeah, we are on the road. I think we are on the road. Oh, we're done.
Singletary, like, over yards? Is that just the play?
Yes. Maybe Daniel Jones. Who knows?
Next we can go to the Eagles win another messy game. I feel like this is in typical Eagles fashion, winning another messy game. No A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith gets hurt in this game, possible concussion. I haven't heard anything else from that.
Neither have
I. But they find a way to get a win. Saquon breaks out late in the second half because nothing was happening throughout the first half. I thought this game was going to be a shootout. Apparently it wasn't. That defense actually did step up. Jalen Carter had a game. But
yeah.
The Eagles are going to continue to win these messy games, I feel like.
I don't know. I think they're going to continue to be... I think they're going to get every game into almost a sticky situation, and I think they're going to go maybe 50-50 on it because I think Nick Sirianni is a terrible coach. And so I think he's going to make suspect decisions pretty much every week that will get them into shaky spots. I think Jalen Hurts is a turnover machine. He already has 6 on the year.
He's had a turnover in his last 7 games, dating back to last year.
Which, other than he looks good most of the time, and he just makes stupid decisions. So I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe obviously getting AJ Brown back will help. Dallas Goedert looked really good. I don't know. Eagles, I'm gonna trust them just because they have so much talent on both sides of the ball. And their defense played a lot better this week. But man, Nick Sirianni is awful.
They are in these situations. I hate to rag down on Jalen Hurts, but they're in these situations and sticky situations because of him. Because he turns the ball over at the worst possible time. And it's just, for me, with that much talent, why are we forcing it to a receiver in triple coverage? Why not just check it down to Saquon or Dallas Goedert, who I feel like Dallas Goedert had a game, but I feel like Dallas Goedert gets phased out of the offense in most other games.
He does.
Where you have 2 elite level check down options and you can get out of the pocket and scramble on your own. Why are we ever forcing the ball down the field for no reason?
Yeah, if you see double coverage and you have 3 other weapons waiting for you and you have your legs.
Yes.
So you can do anything. I don't see why you would ever.
I just feel like he tries to take too many chances, and that's ends up with him turning the ball over. Obviously, not every single pick is also on him with the whole how much impact does the interception have on quarterbacks and what their process was. But I just feel like there's times where he is forcing something that isn't there when he doesn't even need to, and it's costing the team because I feel like they could have easily handled. They should have just beat the Falcons, but they didn't. Because that's not on him. That's on Saquon Barkley catching that ball. But it's
it's actually on Nick Sirianni for calling the play.
You think?
Yes. That you don't ever pass there.
Even if you run, the clock runs. So
you run there. You run both times actually, but
so it's just
Saquon does have to catch that ball, as well.
But they find a way to neutralize. The defense is what really stood out to me in this one. Saints, obviously, we know what they did in weeks 1 and week 2. Eagles defense has kind of been the main question mark for the team.
Even like the Saints' first drive was really good, and then they stopped them for a field goal, which then I was like, okay, yeah, like good stop, but you're done for the rest of the game. They're probably just going to score a bunch. But no, they stopped them until the very end.
I'm not going to say that I'm just like, because I was never fully in on the Saints anyways, but I'm not going to say I'm just fully out on one game and them losing to the Eagles, which is probably the most talented, name-wise, team in the NFC. Like, I'm not going to say I'm just fully out on them because I feel like they're going to be very competitive in their division. So I just think this could just be a loss and kind of a coming down to earth a little bit spot for them. I mean, putting up 90, I wasn't expecting this team to average 30-plus a game for the whole year.
Yeah, and then we're also seeing the Dallas defense get absolutely torched by everybody, so it's not like they went and did this against crazy defense, but again, I'm also not out on them either. I think they can be a pretty damn good team the whole season.
Yeah. But Eagles, I wouldn't be surprised if they win another game next week in the same sort of fashion.
Right.
Next game, we can get into Minnesota Vikings and the Texans.
You go ahead.
Absolute wiping. I mean, before the season, because my dad is also a Vikings fan, he was saying that Sam Darnold was going to be the Baker Mayfield this year. I said I wanted to agree with it so much, but I always, in the back of my head, I was being realistic. I was like, I got to see it before I believe it. I knew how our schedule was to start the year with Giants, Niners, and the Texans. But now I've seen it. And I'm not seeing, like, scratching out wins, like barely winning games. I think we have a top 5 defensive unit in the NFL. I think Brian Flores is showing why he's a top 3 to 5 defensive mind in the game. Kevin O'Connell is, I think he's easily the head lead for Coach of the Year right now with what he's doing with Sam Darnold, with what he's doing. And in games where he has either won or broke even on the turnover battle, he's basically undefeated in those games. I feel like defensively and offensively, we're winning complete games. We're not just winning because of the offense. We're not just winning because of the defense. Both sides are really helping each other out a lot. We're leading the league in sacks with no real superstar level player on our defense. It's kind of just play by committee. We didn't have Dallas Turner or Ivan Pace, 2 key pieces to our defense this past week, and we still made havoc on CJ Stroud. I mean, the graphic showed up like he hasn't thrown a pick in this amount of time or whatever. Next drive throws a pick. Throws 2 picks that game. Feel like he was super overwhelmed with what we were throwing at him scheme wise. And then Sam Darnold, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Aaron Jones had a day, and we're not even healthy. We don't even have our wide receiver 2. We don't have our starting tight end. Didn't have Ivan Pace. We didn't have our first round draft pick this year in Dallas Turner, and we still beat the Texans, and they didn't even get over double digits. Yeah. I understood the Niners won. I didn't, because we always handle the Niners. They haven't beat us in Minnesota in I don't know how long. So looking at that, I wanted to come in this week and be like, okay, if we beat the Texans by a field goal or something, it's still like, all right, I still got to see it. But the walloping that we gave them to us 2 Super Bowl contenders in back-to-back weeks in the Niners game, unless it was for an Aaron Jones fumble, would have been another blowout win. Like, I can't not say that I feel like we're a legit team after the teams that we've played and how we've beaten them.
Yeah, I sadly and regretfully agree. You guys look really dang good. Defense looks crazy. My take on Aaron Jones is not looking great.
Well.
It's not looking great.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson just seems to always be open.
Yeah.
He's always open. If Sam Darnold can play like this all the time, if he can just not turn the ball over and be efficient, I don't see why you guys can't win the division and be a real contender.
That's my whole thing. Like, I'm not obviously expecting Sam Darnold to go out here and throw 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, but I do think in these games that he's winning against these really, really good teams, it's just building confidence, has an entire group to we can really compete with anybody. But it's also to the point where it's like, this is why I kind of get to the point of like, why other teams don't kind of get that established run game, because we were a team that didn't have an established run game last year, and it really struggled, and really you could really see it in our game plan. Now we have Aaron Jones, and now I'm looking at like your team, like the Cowboys, who don't have that established run game and have to throw the ball 45 plus times per game. Like, I just feel like everything is cohesively working, right? It's still early in the season. This time is a lot different than November and December. But our schedule does lighten up after the bye. We have the Packers, then we have the Jets in the London game, and then I think we have our bye the week after that. Then we get into our division games in the back half of the year, which are going to be competitive. But I do think we're in a good spot. And if Jordan Love doesn't play, I expect us to go 4-0. And if we can go 4-0 into that Jets game, I'm pretty hyped for the rest of the year, because this was the gauntlet we talked about before the year, that we were going to lose a bunch of games.
Right. Even if Jordan Love is there, I think that defense is going to give him hell on his first week back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, first week coming off that injury, it's going to be interesting. That'll be a good game.
Yes.
If he plays.
I just think KOC is honestly putting on him and Flores are putting on shows right now.
Yeah.
With KOC, I feel like the offense has never really wavered in terms of play calling. With who we have hurt and how smooth the offense still seems to run, it's still like credit to him. I think him and Flores are leading like the league right now in what they're doing coaching wise. I
completely agree. They look really Brian Flores, man. That scheme it must be just something different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see that scheme against like a veteran QB, because we play Aaron Rodgers and the Jets in 2 weeks. So I'm interested to see how the scheme looks against somebody like Aaron Rodgers, a more veteran.
If he's able to pick it apart, or if it really stifles him too.
Because obviously CJ Stroud was super rattled. We'd rattled Brock Purdy the past 2 years with the scheme, and we're more talented this year than last year. And Brock Purdy was even struggling with it last year. So I'm interested, and Daniel Jones. So I'm interested to see where we do go, because the Packers defense is also very young, can fly around like we fly around. So it's going to be a very good game, even if Jordan Love doesn't play, because Malik Willis has looked good. Yeah. They're going to lean on the run. They have a good line. So I think it's going to be a good game, especially because it's in division, it's in Lambeau. It's going to be a good game. But if we can,
divisional game.
Yes. If we can go out there and go 0-4 and beat the Packers convincingly in Lambeau, depending on if Jordan Love's healthy or not, I'm really in a good spot with how realistic I am as a fan.
Right.
Next we can get into the Bears. Crazy. Connor ducking. Ducking
smoke.
This is kind of, I can start this entire talk about the Bears based on what I kind of just got done talking about with KOC. Quarterback friendly coaches. We saw even last night with Jane Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury. These quarterbacks coming in, they need an offensive minded coach. They need a QB friendly coach. And they have the opposite of that. I'm sitting here watching Jane Daniels throw like at least 5 to 6 yards per pass attempt. I'm like, why is Caleb Williams not able to do this?
Mm-hmm.
They have twice the amount of offensive talent than the Washington Commanders. And they have twice the defense that the Commanders have. But yet I'm seeing no production from the Bears offense at all.
I don't even know what the problem is there. Obviously, Connor would be the person to best explain it, because he watches the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
That offensive line is terrible. The scheme is really bad. I think they expected a lot more out of their running game. How you don't get any running game going against the Colts is the real issue, I think. Because like we said, you build your offense off the running game and off your offensive line. And if Swift is averaging like 2 yards a carry, I think. Every time I see him run the ball, it's like for 2 yards.
The Bears were the best run team. If they weren't one, they were definitely in the top 3 in just terms of absolute just rush game in general last year. They're bottom like 5 this year so far.
Right.
And it comes down to, I don't know if Swift was the best fit. I think they should have, because Swift outside, getting to the outside is still very good. But in between the tackles, he's also just getting lit up. And I feel like he's kind of a softer runner in between the tackles.
You already had Khalil Herbert. You already had your guy outside the tackles who had a good season. He had like 1,000 yards.
See, the revolving door at running back that we are seeing around the league is kind of starting to come back and bite teams. I like Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, you could say, is a more talented back than Aaron Jones. In terms of a comparison, like, they went out and got a name in Chicago in Swift, but he's not playing up to the par of Khalil Herbert was last year. Kind of saying, like, I understand Josh Jacobs is a premier back, and I know why they got rid of Aaron Jones because of the injuries, but Aaron Jones has started out having a way better year than Josh Jacobs so far.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Jacobs did have like 150 yards in year 2, but I think that could come down a little bit to not having Love. But yeah, with the Bears, I think you're right. I don't know about just this running game, man. It's not getting going, and then you can't build anything off that. Caleb has no time to throw, and I also think he's just forcing things like Jalen Hurts. I think he's frustrated. DJ Moore looks like he wants to cry every single time I see him on the camera. Keenan Allen can't get healthy. It's just things are not going how they were supposed to for this team. We obviously expected them to have, like, we were going into the season saying Caleb is going into the best situation that any quarterback has gone into in recent memory. That's what people were saying.
Legit, the only situation every quarterback would want to go that wasn't in the top 5 was Minnesota. That was outside the top 5 for quarterbacks.
God, JJ's not even healthy. That's just crazy.
He's not even healthy.
That's just crazy. But yeah, I mean, and now 3 weeks later, we're sitting here saying, God damn, like, coach awful, OC awful, O-line awful. It's just the same shit, different quarterback. I don't know what they need to do. I don't know if they need to fire whoever their OC is, whoever's calling plays, because then you're just switching up the offense again right in the middle of the season with Caleb Williams. And
I think they ride it out this year, but I think they're definitely in the market next year for a more offensive mind.
100%.
Because even if you move Eberflus, like, just have him be your DC and maybe go get a more offensive-minded QB. Because, like, Dan Quinn's a defensive mind, but they have an offensive-minded OC. They don't have an offensive-minded OC.
How do you not have an offensive-minded OC?
At least that's what it.
I know. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
That's
what it feels like. It just feels like these guys have no creativity. They don't. They're just not with the modern game. I don't know.
I know Connor's not here, but, like, we watched that Texans game. They were driving down the field, and they got to a first down. I think me and Connor, like, guessed the exact play call for the next 3 plays.
I think you guys said that.
Like, it's so predictable.
Oh my God, that speed option at the end of the game. What are we doing at the goal line? What are we doing? Like, that's just simple shit.
It sucks that they don't have Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen is somebody you can put in the slot, and he's going to win 9 times out of 10 against another receiver in one-on-one. But, like, I can't say it's like past years because they have talent. It's not like they don't have talent like the past couple of years. Like, yes, you had DJ Moore, but outside DJ Moore, you didn't really use Darnell Mooney, and he's over here thriving with Kirk Cousins in an offensive-minded system now. So, wow, Chicago. Like, I wonder, it might be y'all, not everybody else that you guys have had. But, like, I just don't, they have the talent. There's no excuse. It's on coaching. I can't, if you say it's anything but coaching, you're not watching the game.
I think it's O-line coaching. Because, I don't know, man. It looks bad.
Because their defense is a top, what, 5 to 10 unit?
Top 10. They're top 10.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, they have a really, really solid defense, but your defense is going to continue to trend downwards when your offense is this bad.
I mean, he threw 52 passes.
As a rookie. Jane Daniels threw what, 22 last night?
It's like 95% completion or some bullshit.
What was he, like 19 for 22?
Something like that. But, like, the Packers ran for like almost 200 yards on the Colts last week. How is your game plan going into this? Let's have Caleb throw the ball 52 times.
One, I always didn't think Swift was that guy. I think he had a very good year. The Lions got rid of him for a reason. Yes.
I think you're right. I think you're right. As much as I loved Swift coming into the league, he just isn't him. He's just not very good.
He went to a good, like, looking at it, when he was in Detroit, they got rid of him for a reason. He goes to Philly. He has a really, really good year behind a really, really good O-line, the best O-line in the league. And then he goes to Chicago, and they're like, why can't he replicate that when Chicago had the money to go get a better back and like a Saquon Barkley? And I don't even think it would help with how bad that O-line is playing.
Right. I don't know. I just don't know. They have a lot of work to do.
Yes, they have a lot of work to do. They have so much talent on both sides of the ball to be this lackluster. It's like, and then the arguments and the, we don't talk about this. We talk about it in a joking manner in group chats. I sent the eyes emoji when Justin Fields won and they were 3-0 in the group chat.
Yep.
So it's very interesting. And Justin Fields playing way completely different football, new scheme and everything. But I just think it comes down to scheming. Like when you look at the Commanders game in the same draft, Jane Daniels, same draft class. See how different they play. But Jane Daniels and Caleb Williams have kind of the same skill set. Caleb Williams can use his legs like Jaden Daniels. Maybe not to the extent, but he can still move and maneuver in the pocket. I just feel like they're making everything so hard on him and not making it easier on him by any means.
Yeah. I think so too. I think we put the expectations too high, and I think the coaches are probably doing too much, asking too much out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not looking good. I think he will. I mean, he's only looked better throughout the weeks. I know he threw 2 picks or whatever. He's turning the ball over quite a bit. He threw the ball 52 times. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
He's going to throw picks. I think it's going to get better. Their offensive line just needs to start playing, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that coach needs a stern talking to.
Yes. Kind of in that same game, got some questions about Anthony Richardson. A lot of people high on him going into this year, and kind of the Colts for what they were last year. You're just thinking, oh, we put AR in Gardner Minshew's spot. We should be better. But I feel like it hasn't been anything of the sort to start the year.
It hasn't. I think we all have to remember, though, this is Anthony Richardson's rookie year.
Right.
I know it isn't actually, but he only played 2 games last year. That's like saying he's played the same amount of games as Caleb Williams through this. Like, he has 2 more games now, but I think he needs more time. And I honestly think he will grow into like understanding when he needs to be throwing these balls. Like, obviously, it's a mental lapse. I don't think the Colts are in a spot right now to where they need to be worried about this.
No.
And with his physical frame and what he can do, I'm not worried at all, honestly. Like, this is his rookie year. He's going to make these bad decisions too. Again, like, these rookies are going to make bad decisions. That's how it works. CJ Stroud threw 4 interceptions. That's not going to happen every year. Sorry. These rookie quarterbacks aren't going to make great decisions every game.
Mm-hmm.
Get off the dude's ass. Give him some time. And I think he's going to be okay. He has like the strongest arm in the league.
Yeah. I do think they're going to be fine. It was just I'm just looking at some of the picks. I'm just like, there ain't even nobody there.
Trust me. That one in the end zone was fucking bad.
Yeah.
That was hard to watch.
Yeah. I think they'll be
all
fine.
These guys, all people. I mean, Peyton Manning threw the most interceptions ever in his rookie year.
Yeah.
All right.
And if I'm the Colts, I'm perfectly fine with another pretty loaded draft class coming up. I'm perfectly fine with kind of being within that top 15.
Yeah. 100%.
To go get another
good
prospect
piece.
for So like I'm perfectly fine with that. And nobody on this roster is aging out or anything.
No. I think they need to get Michael Pittman more involved.
Oh yes.
JT looks amazing. But I think
Pittman's the guy they definitely
happen.
need to get more involved. He played against the Bears. He was questionable like up until like game time.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I just put that there to see if you were worried at all about AR in that situation.
Not worried at all.
Another 3-0 team, Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Fields probably has his best game so far this year against our Chargers. I mean, I want Fields to do good, and I want the Steelers to do good, but at the expense of my Chargers, I don't know. But they're 3-0. Is it time to start giving, like, Fields is just going to start the rest of the year, barring injury?
I mean, I don't think so. I think he's looked really good so far. I don't think it's, like, with these type of quarterbacks, I don't think we're ever in a scenario where, like, yeah, this guy gets the rock the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's always going to be a week-to-week thing unless he shows me week after week that he's going to continually be efficient and not turn the ball over. He had that interception, but I think it was, like, up in the air. Like, I think it got tipped and then just kind of fell to the ground. They just fell to the ground with it. But they look good. That defense looks really good. And as long as Justin Fields is doing what he's doing, not turning the ball over too much, not making stupid decisions, he's making throws into tight windows.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously running the ball quite well. That defense is insane. The 3-0. The 3-0.
They got the Colts next week on the road.
That's a W.
I think
Anthony Richardson might throw 3 picks.
So I think that's a win. And then Sunday night they got the boys in Pitt.
No.
In Pitt.
Justin Fields going to freak us.
That'll be if they can mess around and go 5-0, because I know the back half of their schedule is very, very wicked. But if they keep leaning on that defense and Justin Fields keeps taking care of the ball and making the plays when he needs to make the plays with his legs, he's playing a way different style than what he did in Chicago. He's getting the ball out a lot faster compared to what he was in Chicago. And it's just obviously him and Pickens are gaining that connection. I feel like Freiermuth is getting more and more involved as the weeks go on. Yep. I feel like they're just getting more and more confident with Fields to the point where I'm among the tree of like Russell Wilson could mess around and get traded.
Oh, man. I mean, I don't know. To where, though?
Not more so of a team that, like, this kind of flows right into our conversation about the Dolphins. But I'm just not a fan of we're just going to go get Tyler Huntley and we're going to be fine. Tyler Huntley is a backup quarterback. Go get... If I'm looking at the Steelers situation and I see the Steelers are winning convincingly games and they're like 5-0 by this point, and Tyler Huntley hasn't shown me anything at all, and I'm still looking at Tua like, yeah, you're good now. What happens when you just take a regular hit next week when we play, and then you're out for another 5 weeks? And you already see how bad the offense is struggling, bad matchup against the Seahawks, but you already see how much the offense suffers from not having somebody like Tua or somebody that can understand getting the ball out fast. If I'm the Steelers, or if I'm the Dolphins in this case, like, why not go get Russell Wilson for basically nothing? He's going to be better than Tyler Huntley's going to do for you, Skylar Thompson. And even at this point in time, like, he makes you less worry about Tua getting thrown back out there.
I agree talking about Skylar Thompson. I'm actually more of a fan of Tyler Huntley than I think the average person. I think he looked okay in the time that he played, and he sat behind Lamar Jackson for a long time. I think with this offense and all the pieces around it, I think he could be interesting. So I don't hate the Tyler Huntley pick. I think, and actually, going off this, if they keep winning, you said the Steelers could go 5-0.
Yeah.
So after week 5 could actually be like the time to look at it. This might not be the time to look at a Russell Wilson trade. That might even, the price might get lower.
Like if they beat Dallas like on Sunday night
and Fields looks good, like then you're like, okay, maybe we do get Wilson out of here. And then, if we have 2 weeks of Tyler Huntley and he looks like shit, then maybe we do it.
I think this is more so, it's something to put in the mind now, but it's not something to actually start really putting the pieces together for until a couple weeks. But I'm also in the Steelers side of like, just because the Wilson rumors have been talked about, I feel like QB's trading, like with the whole Bryce Young situation, has been kind of up in the air, especially with the Dolphins situation. Like, I don't think you trade Wilson due to the thought in the back of your head of Justin Fields possibly getting hurt, and you just have Russell Wilson for nothing basically on your bench. Unless they call for him, you don't trade him.
Right.
Just to kind of have that safety blanket.
Yeah.
But if a team calls for him...
If a team calls, I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm listening, for sure.
Especially if a Dolphins team that is like desperate, who has just still looked bad.
Yeah.
These next 2 weeks.
100%. And yeah, if they do look bad. Like, I also think Skylar Thompson is not a good quarterback, and I think Tyler Huntley, with his running ability, could be interesting because Tyreek Hill, and we got Jalen Waddle, and we got Devon Achane, we got Raheem Mostert. Like, they got some pieces. So I think they could find an interesting offense out of that. Now, if he turns the ball over hella and they look like shit still, then it fails.
I'm interested to see what they do, though, with him. I just think it's a conversation to have in the back of your mind if you're looking at it from
sure. If Justin Fields continues to look good, man. See you later, Russ.
Yeah, because they have a very good path. I mean, with how wicked like the Bengals look, with how the Browns look, now that division's looking a lot softer compared to what it was at the start of the year, and they always play Baltimore well. So the Steelers are in a really, really good spot to just continue to compete in this division, and they're 3-0 right now, off to a great start. And they're, like I said, their back half of the schedule is wicked, but I think these division games are looking a lot softer than people are kind of thinking
100%.
for the Steelers. Already talked about Miami. Hate to have this conversation, but we talked about it in the group chat when it was happening live. Maybe Bryce Young was the problem.
Well.
Maybe he was the problem.
Maybe he isn't good. I'm not even gonna get on Bryce Young too much. I think this could be a scenario where like the offense might just look easier to Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is a veteran, man. He played on some really good teams in Cincinnati. I think this could very well be just a guy who's good at reading defenses, good at running the offense, just coming in and making some throws. I don't think this is a huge Bryce Young thing. Now, do I still believe he's not the guy? Yes, I do still believe that. I don't think he is going to succeed in this league. But I could still be wrong about that. It could still be the system, and I don't think the Carolina Panthers are going to come out and win 7 games now. I still think they're going to be shit. They just beat the Raiders, who Antonio Pierce was saying their players weren't even trying anyway.
And for business for themselves.
Business reasons. I heard he was the corner. That makes sense then.
The only thing I'll say about this whole situation, the only thing I'll say is the difference from Andy and Bryce Young is like the arm talent is definitely better on Andy's side, and the physicals are definitely better. A lot of those throws, I just don't see Bryce being able to make. That's the thing.
Andy Dalton can see over the line. Bryce Young can't.
Yeah, so I feel like that's the thing. But like you said, I'm not expecting anything crazy out of the Panthers now.
No.
But I do
especially
think
now Adam Thielen's going on IR.
Yeah, like I do think it's now Connor said on the last episode, like this could possibly be Bryce Young's last year with the Panthers. I could see it possibly, depending on the direction that you do go in. But I feel like he is somebody that needed to sit. Like all these quarterbacks coming, and he played all last year, but like all these quarterbacks coming in, and he has a whole new OC and whole scheme now, to where it's like it's basically like his first year.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense because you traded away all your pieces. You knew you weren't a good team. Mm-hmm. You had the number 1 overall pick. You knew you weren't a good team. Why did we start Bryce Young right away when we had this guy Andy Dalton in our back pocket? I don't know. I think that was the bad decision. I don't think benching him is the wrong decision. I think that could be the right decision. I think starting him right away was just a catastrophic decision. I think they're probably pressured by it because it's a number 1 pick. You got to play the number 1 overall pick or else what? Especially because C.J. Stroud looked so good, they probably would have gotten shit on all year for it. But it would have been the better decision in the long run.
You know who's coming out has winners that nobody's talking about in this entire situation? I guess 2 teams. 2 teams. One, actually, no, yeah, 2 teams. So one, the Falcons, who got absolutely torn to shreds for picking Penix and then benching him for whatever, and then signing Kirk Cousins to that long-term deal at 2 to 3 years.
It was only 3, but yeah.
Then they're like, oh, why would they draft Penix then? So he can sit and learn behind one of the best quarterbacks in terms of longevity and making bread, and Kirk Cousins, who knows how to run an offense.
Yep. If we're looking really deep into it, they can get off this Kirk Cousins contract in 2 years. Michael Penix will still have 3 years on his rookie deal if you're also adding on the 5th-year option at a stable low rate. I don't think this was a bad decision at all.
By that time, with all the money that is going to be freed up from the Kirk Cousins contract, you could go into it and be like, wow, we have all this money, plus an already talented enough roster to even bolster it up even more so Michael Penix doesn't even have to do anything crazy with this offense. And I think this is a huge winner that nobody's talking about from all the people that really gave the Falcons a lot of shit for taking Penix. They wanted to sit. And then you look at, I think quarterback development and coaches and scheming is a separate conversation from a quarterback sitting and learning. But why do you think the Packers have developed so well? Jordan Love sat for years. Now look at Jordan Love.
Aaron Rodgers sat for years.
Yes.
Jordan Love sat for years, and there you go.
And now looking at a team in the Vikings, who I feel like are also a slight winner. He's also hurt, but looking at J.J. McCarthy, somebody who was already going to be sitting to begin with. But now this is going to be a perfect situation to where, like, even if Sam Darnold plays good this year, say we make the playoffs or whatever, then you're like, maybe we sign Sam Darnold for like another year or 2 and really make sure J.J. McCarthy is ready. Because I promise you, if this unit makes it to the playoffs, they're not trying to have a step back year because of J.J. McCarthy.
I think you guys could be in a kind of shit scenario at the end of the season if you guys do make the playoffs, because I think Sam Darnold, if he plays the way he has been, I think he's going to be looking for a better than Baker deal.
Yes.
And if that's true, it's going to be a 3-year, 150, 160 mil, and that by then JJ's on. If you accept his 5th year, he's on his 5th year by the time that Sam Darnold contract's out. It'd be interesting. So I think you guys could go either way with it. But when we're looking big picture, I completely agree.
I just think in terms of them sitting behind somebody who is more veteran, knows how to lead and everything else, I think Penix is in the perfect situation because Kirk Cousins is a great leader from his time in Minnesota. Yep. I think he's going to learn really, really well off this. And by the time he starts playing, everybody's going to be like, wow, he's really good right away. Who would have thought? Yeah,
wow, he can read these defenses. Wow, he can get out of the pocket. He knows how to read the shit. Okay.
And the main gripe I've seen is like, oh, he's an older quarterback as well. I'm like, well, Sam Darnold's younger than Joe Burrow, if that puts into perspective. Like, just because he's a little bit older at the quarterback position doesn't mean like he's going to be falling off a cliff or can't progress in 2 years.
24 now. He can, in 2 years, he'll be 26, whatever. He still has another 10 years, like if he's good, obviously, before he like really ages out.
I just feel like the sitting...
People are always so win now, get the best piece now. They had like the 11th pick, or I don't remember what it was, but like, so I understand, I get it. The Falcon fans want it. Like you just signed Kirk Cousins. You want to get the best piece possible to help your team. Sorry, sometimes the NFL organizations aren't looking at it that way, and they made the better decision in this time, I think.
Because I was the one post draft when we recorded an episode that I was on the track that Penix, that was a good selection. I thought that it made sense. Like, you say Kirk Cousins is coming off an Achilles and he gets hurt, then you just slide Penix in.
Yep.
And then you're perfectly fine with that.
In that division, you still have a chance to win.
Yes.
Easily.
So I think from the Bryce Young situation, I feel like him sitting is going to do him justice for sure. I still don't know if he ends up in Carolina next year. I still feel like a team could take a grasp on him because the Panthers are going to probably have another top 5 pick, and they're probably going to be in the market for another quarterback. So I think there's a chance he should sit, but he's not going to be sitting in Carolina.
Yeah, probably.
Next one. I mean, Rams, insane comeback against the 49ers with nothing on that offense.
Absolutely. Tutu Atwell.
Listen, Juwan Jennings. Legacy game. And a loss.
Yeah. This was going on while I was watching the Cowboys game. I'd be mad at that, so I didn't get to watch a lot of this. And because I saw it was like 21-3, so I was like, I ain't going to watch this. But man, I mean, what a downfall. You lose 2 straight now as the Niners.
CMC's out for longer than expected.
George Kittle's still hurt. Debo's hurt. Brandon Ayuk just drops passes. Juwan Jennings is your wide receiver 1.
Here's the thing. I think this is more about the Rams than it is the Niners. The Rams needed to win this game. The Rams definitely needed to win this game. They couldn't afford to go to 0-3. Now when the Seahawks are 3-0 at that point, the Niners beat you in the division game. They're 2-1. So, like, with all the injuries they do have, very gutsy win. I don't think the only coach that I've seen do more with less than my coach, KOC with the Vikings, is Sean McVay
with the Rams.
Does more with less than I've ever seen a coach in the league do. All right, my number 1 receiver and number 2 receiver are both out. My supposedly number 1 tight end, Tyler Higbee, hasn't played all year.
My 2 tackles are out.
2 tackles are out. Our defense is young. We don't have Aaron Donald. Nope, let's come back in the fourth quarter down 2 touchdowns, 2 scores to beat the 49ers in division. Let me just scheme up some shit for Kyron Williams to have a day. Let me just play. You have Matthew Stafford, who's going to know the right place to make it. It makes so much sense. Like, Sean McVay is like a top. I'm not going to go as far as to say he's the best coach in the league, but he's in that conversation.
He's top
yes,
5,
he's easily in that conversation for what he's able to do with the talent that is on the team. In the past 2 years, made the playoffs last year with Cooper Kupp, who's been their safety blanket for years now. Without him for most of last year, and they turned Puka Nacua into a superstar caliber receiver throughout development.
Yeah, I think they could. It could be interesting, man, because I don't think the Seahawks are very good. I think they're beating up on not very good opponents. And obviously the Niners are struggling, and they're probably just going to go through these struggles all year. I know they're going to get Drake Greenlaw back, but that defense looks weird, to say the least, and the offense just can't seem to play a full game. So the Niners I'm a little scared for. If the Rams can keep this going, man, if that defense can just get better throughout the year, get Cooper Kupp back, get Puka back, that'd be scary.
I think this is because like I said, they couldn't afford to go down 0-3.
No.
They got the Bears next week, which I think is a very winnable game. Mess around, go 2-2 there. I think if they can just do enough to stay afloat, I think they can compete with the Seahawks later in the year once they get Kupp back, once you get Puka back. I feel like if you can stay afloat long enough in that division, because it's not like the Niners they're the best team in that division for sure, but they're not world beaters and they're banged up right now. If you stay afloat, you can still have a shot in that division, I feel like, because I feel like everybody's waiting for the Seahawks to kind of.
I mean, these teams are going to beat up on each other, dude. They're gonna lose to the Cardinals once. They're going to lose to the Niners once. So that division winner is probably going to end with 9-10 wins. You can. I don't even know when these guys are getting back, but I don't know. If they can get 5 wins, hopefully that's when you get your offense back. 6 weeks left in the season, go like 4-2.
Yeah. So looking at, I know Cooper Kupp, he hasn't been thrown on IR yet. He hasn't been thrown on IR yet at all. So looking at like Puka,
I did see there's something about him not being on IR is that you can only bring so many people off IR per year. So like people that you put on IR and then bring back, you can only bring back so many per year, and the Rams are so depleted that they can't put more people on. They can't, with him being possibility to play, they're not even going to risk putting him on IR to bring him back because they need those spots. Okay. That's what I saw. But I don't know when he's going to come back. That it could mean anything.
Looking at their next 3, you got the Bears, Packers, Raiders, and Vikings. The Vikings is definitely the toughest one out of that stretch. Packers don't have Jordan Love. I still don't really know about his situation if he's playing. I know he was questionable this weekend, but who knows for the future. And that I think they can beat the Raiders. I think they can beat the Bears. I think if Jordan Love's not there, I think they can beat the Packers, even with how depleted they are. And then they start getting their division games in the back half, and they have a lot of like just winnable games on their schedule if they do end up just getting at least Puka back. If they get Puka back, I'm way more confident in this team for sure. But they just need to get either Puka or Kupp back. But if they can keep it rolling, I think they're on the right path.
With teams struggling in the NFC, you can always just snag a wild card spot. 9 wins, 8 wins, maybe. Probably not 8 wins.
Let's talk about your boys. We're kind of in that afternoon slate at this point. Cowboys have a big defensive problem, but then they give you hope into thinking they can come back and win this game. If they got that second onside kick,
oh my god,
I think they win that game.
Probably.
I think they win that game.
In the second to last drive by the Ravens, if Lamar doesn't pick up that first down, I think we also could have won that game.
Listen, that pull on that option was nasty, disgusting.
Yeah. I ain't got much to say, man. We can't run and we can't stop the run. And we've already talked about it multiple times on this episode. That's what you need to do. And
you need to establish the run.
You need to establish the run and you need to stop the run. And we're giving up 200 yards a game or something like that to run to the team because we gave up like 130 to Derrick Henry and a bunch to Lamar too. You have so many mobile quarterbacks in this league nowadays. We're going to struggle against everybody. Everyone.
Then I'll play Thursday night against the Giants.
Like, we're going to struggle against them. I don't think we're going to beat the shit out of them like we usually do. And I count on that. I count on beating the shit out of the Giants.
You did say, I don't know if it was you. We weren't recording or anything, but you did say that the Commanders were going to get one this year off y'all.
I stand by it. I stand by it. Brian Robinson, legacy game. 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's it. I think they have an identity problem. I hate Micah Parsons. I don't like him, and I want him to leave the Cowboys. I don't care about the talent. He's just too many issues. He disappears too many times in the podcast, bro. Leave the podcasting to me. Leave it to me, brother. You stay on the field. Yeah, and the offense, if we can't build off the run, we're not passing the ball downfield. I know sometimes you're just going to get CD on an open, or you're going to get him against a double team. He's going to make a crazy catch, but we make too many mistakes. Make too many mistakes. Excuse me, and just don't stop the run. We're getting every time it's first down, I see a 2nd and 2. And that's just an easy either shot down the field when you know that you're going to be able to have a 3rd and 2, and you have Lamar Jackson / Derrick Henry to just pick up that. It's over. I'm very, very worried about this team.
If the Cowboys would have gotten that second onside kick and the Ravens would have lost that game.
Oh, it would have been a downfall for the Ravens.
Yes.
Would have been the downfall. But, I mean, now looking at it, now the go a day later, the Bengals are 0-3, and you're like, well, maybe not. But, Oh, my God. Oof.
Cowboys just have so many problems. It could be a punt year to possibly be better next year.
Yeah, could be. Dude, when Jerry Jones said we couldn't afford Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry is making $3 million more than Ezekiel Elliott. $3 million. You don't think the Cowboys, who are worth $10 billion, could afford $3 million?
I'm pretty sure if you asked Dak, you would have gave him $3 million of his contract.
100%. You just gave it up. I don't know.
Fine.
I'm worried, man. I'm worried. But I mean, at this point, like, I don't even. It's whatever. I'm more of a Chargers fan.
Type shit. Getting into the Sunday night game. Basically, the only thing I have to say is not worried about the Falcons. I feel like their offense is taking strides every week. Kirk Cousins is looking better and better every week. And then for the Chiefs side of things, I just think when it gets into a close game, they're just always going to pull it out. When it gets into a spot where, like, they need to go make a play, they're just going to make the play to win. I feel like if you have to beat the Chiefs, I feel like you have to damn near blow them out. Because if it's a close game, they're going to they have the makeup, they have the experience to know how to win in close situations and close games. They did it against the Bengals. You say it was a PI or not, but you can see in this game.
It was a PI.
Yeah. But in this game, towards the back half, towards the later stretch, there was never a point in time where I'm like, yeah, Falcons are going to win this game. I just always thought the Chiefs were just going to get the defensive stop they needed to just win the game. That last play to go get the first down, though, what are we doing there?
Which one?
It was Algier and Bijan, and they give it to Bijan, try to go on the outside, and the Chiefs just blow it up.
I don't know. I don't know what teams are thinking.
I don't know what that last play call was, but I'm still not worried about the Falcons. They're in a division to where they can compete. Just saw the Tampa Bay Bucks just have a shit game against Denver. Saints just lost, so I'm not really too tripping about the Falcons really at all. Losing to the Chiefs, but the Chiefs is just there really isn't much to say with KC.
I'm more worried about the Chiefs, like than the Falcons, just because like the Chiefs. Oh my God! One, what happened to Travis Kelce? It's only been 8 months since he had like killed everybody in the playoffs. What happened? I know he got older.
See, that's another thing. I'm not worried about.
Well, I mean, like eventually, like I know that once they get to the playoffs, he'll probably turn it up and have another 4 touchdowns in the playoffs. But like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not worried. You know what? Maybe I'm not, because I'm looking at it and they're like, they figure it out. Like they have Rashee Rice and Noah Gray is playing that to like, he plays like 60% of what Travis Kelce does. Xavier Worthy, they still haven't figured out, but I think they will eventually.
And then you have a safety blanket and just Juju, that's just out there. Can just be a target.
He's just another receiver.
Like, I was more worried about Pacheco being hurt for as long as he's going to be hurt, and then I see Carter Steele just getting like 8 yards per. I'm just like, oh, their O-line is just by committee. I see.
Yeah, their O-line's like that, and they're so scared of Mahomes that they can't stack the box like crazy, and you're not going to stack it against Carson Steele. So he's just going to – he's good, too. Like they said that. They've been talking about him since the preseason. He looked really good in training camp, and he looks semi-like Pacheco in his running style.
Yeah.
And, it's just next man in.
It's just I'm just never going to be worried about the Chiefs.
It's also just stupid that they played their biggest two rivals in the first 2 weeks, and then played one of the NFC guys who we think could possibly have a chance against them, and they're just 3-0, and they haven't played good yet.
They have the Niners in like 3 weeks too.
And they're just gonna beat them.
Yeah.
The Chiefs haven't even played that good.
No, they haven't. They
and
do just
3-0 against the best, like the teams that we were worried about the most: Bengals, Ravens, and then the Falcons. But
see, last year was worst case scenario. Viewing upon the Chiefs losing a bunch of games where you probably shouldn't have. So that was the worst case scenario. They look way better than they do now than they did last year around this time. So I'm not really tripping about them whatsoever.
They'll be good.
Yeah. Then Monday night games, we can go and quickly, talk about our Jags. Jags.
Whoa.
Former
That's not our Jags.
No, not anymore.
We unclaimed them last Tuesday.
Yes, we did.
Bills look good, man. I don't even want to talk about Jags.
Bills
look good.
So we do our power rankings, and then we put them together before the pod.
Open
up
the curtain a little bit.
Yes, I had the Bills at 2 to start the year. After
week 1.
Yes, after week 1, I had the Bills at 2. Now, spoiler, Bills are at 2 on the power rankings this week. Dominant performance against Miami, dominant performance against the Jags. This new style I feel like is more suiting for Josh Allen and just keeping the ball on the ground, only making the throws when you need it. And they have so many just different weapons to use. Like all of a sudden Shakir's like dominating at the start of the game, then Curtis Samuel gets a couple catches, then Kincaid finally shows up, and then you got Keon Coleman gets a touchdown. Like then it's just like
James Cook gets 4 catches out of the backfield.
Exactly. Dawson Knox just ripped off 1 for 15. Josh Allen gets out of the pocket and runs for 25 of his own. So, they just got so much going on offense, and, this can be a situation where, less is more. A lot of people were worried about this Bills offense with Diggs and Gabe Davis gone. Less can be more at times. And scheming can be beneficial when you know the fit of your quarterback.
Yep.
And I feel like that's all we're seeing. That is all we're seeing. And if the defense is going to continue to be solid enough, Bills are going to be dangerous.
Yeah. People underrated them in the offseason, and I don't think we were ever too fooled about that on this pod. I think we talked like they were going to be pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And
when you have Josh Allen, you're always going to be in conversations to be good.
He's accurate. He's going to find guys, and if he can't, he's going to run the ball. That offense is going to be productive.
Yes.
And the defense is always not always going to stay afloat, but Doug McDermott, come on. Von Miller back. Come on. Von Miller having a good year so far.
Their next 3 are Baltimore, Sunday night, and Baltimore. Then you go to Houston, and then you have the Jets on the road. So it'll be a tough 3-game stretch, but I think they're going to be fine. I think they drop one of those next 3.
Yeah, and if they are, I'm not even worried if they do.
Yeah,
you're not worried. You're not worried about Miami anymore, and you've had the Jets' number for a while, actually. And I think they'd kind of cook up that defense right now.
So it's gonna be interesting to see, but I'm not really too focused and worried on the Bills.
No.
Then we can get into.
Oh wait, do we want to talk about the Jags?
Is it over? Is the season over?
0-3. Oh, God. Yeah, probably, but you can't. If you're in Jacksonville, you can't say that. Our guy Trevor Lawrence, man, that's still my guy. I don't care. He's still my guy, but he looks bad. I mean, that was a bad interception. He threw the ball 10 feet away from his target. Wasn't getting pressured. He wasn't getting rushed. The guy was pretty wide open, and he just missed him. That offense looks out of sorts.
Yes. Defense can't stop nobody.
Defense can't we didn't really expect them to be crazy going into the year. I thought they were going to be better. I didn't think they were going to give up 47 points to the Bills.
But they got talent over there.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that defense. I mean, the defense was always going to give up points to the Bills, but the offense is where I'm obviously very, very worried about. I don't
Offense
think
was something that they could hang their hat on.
Yeah, and Trevor Lawrence 0 for his last 9 games. It's not looking good. I don't know. Maybe Doug Peterson needs to be fired.
Maybe I
just have to say everyone needs to go except for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't know. They look bad.
Dan Orlovsky was
gotta keep going.
Coming to the defense of Trevor Lawrence on the call, saying that he still is just a young quarterback as well.
I saw him getting called Reek on Twitter. My guys saw him getting called Reek. Everyone watched Game of Thrones. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh my god, that's insane.
And I was in so much pain when I saw that. We can go to the next one.
Then talking about Commanders and Bengals. We can start out with the Commanders and end with the Bengals. That was a performance from Jane Daniels last night, and a coaching masterclass, I feel like, from Kingsbury and Dan Quinn. Finally getting McLaurin involved. Missed him on the deep ball earlier in the game. Comes back with the deep ball to put the dagger into the Bengals.
That was a crazy throw.
Yes.
I mean, that
insane
was insane throw. Pressure in his face, literally right there. I mean, 90% of the quarterbacks just get sacked there. They don't even throw that ball.
Right.
They look freaking good, man. I mean, we all hated on Cliff Kingsbury after he got fired by the Cardinals, which I think was fair. I don't think he was supposed to be a head coach, but I don't think we should have ever doubted that he could be an interesting offensive coordinator and could cook up a good scheme.
Mm-hmm.
I went into the year thinking Jane Daniels was going to look really good. I thought Caleb was going to be better still, but I did think he was going to still be the second best rookie quarterback, and he looks like the best.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like the best. Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin, they just got an offense, man. Yeah, they got some good pieces. Eckler looks better than what we thought. Zach Ertz looks way better than what we thought. It's an interesting team. If their defense can just get better, and I know they shipped off some pieces. They haven't really been looking at defense too much as of recently in the past few years, but I think they're going to get back at that with Dan Quinn.
I think if they can build a culture, I think free agency, they can be very active.
Yeah. I like it. I just keep Jaden Daniels healthy. Please.
Yes.
Keep him upright, please.
Yes. But, I mean,
that's all I ask for.
They make the scheme very simple for him. I know the Bengals corner was, it's a very simple scheme. Why not make it simple if it works?
Cam Taylor-Britt talking all that shit. Talking all that
crazy.
shit. It's fucking cooked. It's fucking cooked. He's a good player, but everyone was talking blah, 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 after he fucking got that pick last week.
I just think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this Washington team, because they're in a division to where I'm not saying that they could win. They can compete in this division. They can. With how sloppy the Eagles and Cowboys can be at times, I think they can compete, but they do have some glaring holes on defense that's just needing time to address in the offseason and everything else like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad to see that him have this performance, this defining performance, and I think they have something special going in Washington.
Even last week, they looked really good on offense against the Giants. They just all field goals. They just couldn't finish in the red zone, which that'll come. The Giants have an amazing defensive line. We saw them get 9 sacks this week against the Browns. So, give them some time. I think this offense could end up being really dang good.
Yes. And then the Bengals. 0-3. Is it time to panic?
Yes. Yes. I know we've been in this spot many times. We've been 0-2 3 times over the past 4 years, but yeah, kind of. And especially the AFC's good, man. The AFC's good, and that defense just got freaking shredded.
I know, like I said earlier, for the division, I think the Steelers, from their perspective, the division's looking a lot lighter compared to going into the season. I can't say that for the Bengals. They have still all 6 division games coming up. I've seen a lot of Joe Burrow slander and hate.
Joe Burrow doesn't play good against Cleveland either. Don't let him lose one of those games. Jameis Winston? No. Go ahead.
I just don't. I've just been seeing a lot of blame get thrown on Joe Burrow. Multiple touchdowns, over 300 yards, easy. I can't put that loss on Joe Burrow.
Oh, no.
Because of how bad the defense was.
Yeah.
That hole goes on the defense.
I mean, but I've been saying for years, they just haven't been looking at the defense as much as they need to. There aren't many names. You got Trey Hendrickson and CTR, but we don't have a lot of names on that defense.
And looking at it, they're at a point in time now where they're in such a win mode. win now mode to where it's like once you pay Jamar Chase and whatever you do with T. Higgins, like what money do you have to go help the defense out in a major way? You already paying Joe Burrow a bunch of money. You're gonna have to pay Jamar Chase top dollar, and you already don't have the money for that in general. Then you still have T. Higgins to worry about. Like we've seen how the offense looks without T. Higgins, and how teams play Jamar Chase. So it's like, what route do you go down to really get this team even better? Like, is there even a route to go down without kind of going through like a mini little rebuild / tank / blow up to like really actually improve the roster? Because the defense is so, like the Commanders, we said they could have a creative offense, but they just let a rookie quarterback come in and dice them.
Yeah. Yeah. And a team that couldn't score any touchdowns last week just went in and dropped 38 on them.
38. And you scored 33 of your own, so the offense is clearly not the problem. I can't blame Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I can't be mad at Joe Burrow for scoring 33 points.
Yes.
I just can't be mad at him for that. Yeah, I don't know. Something I've been saying. I said they didn't look at it enough. And they played good last week against the Chiefs, but you lose, guess what? Because your defense makes a key mistake. Defense sucks, man. Get it together.
I'm not going to say that.
Sell the
is
team.
The season over?
No. They're still going to be competitive. They still have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. That defense will be okay. It's not
they
like
got the Panthers
worst
next week.
in the league. Oh, God. They'll win that game, hopefully. Now, if they lose that game,
season's over.
If Andy Dalton drops more than 30 points, it might be over. It might be over. I don't know.
God. From two guys that had the Bengals winning a decent amount of games this year.
Oh, yeah. I had him winning 10. I had him winning 10.
0-3 start. Patriots, Chiefs, Washington. Going into the year, you could have said Washington and the Patriots were locked wins.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we knew Washington was going to be interesting, but yeah, you did not think they were going to lose to these two teams.
Not in Cincinnati.
So now, like, I can't go into any game with the Cincinnati Bengals and just be like, okay, they're going to win. I can't. They might get swept by the Steelers. Might get swept.
Bears fans don't want to hear that.
No.
They don't want to hear that.
God, no. Connor really ducked today.
But we can get into our power rankings going into week 4. Last week's power rankings, based on week 3, was KC at 1, 49ers at 2, Texans at 3, Bills at 4, Tampa at 5, Detroit at 6, Eagles at 7, Saints at 8, Vikings at 9, Cowboys at 10. This week, we have KC at 1, Buffalo at 2, Minnesota at 3, Detroit at 4, Philly at 5, Pittsburgh at 6, Baltimore at 7, Saints at 8, Seahawks at 9, Houston is at 10. And then teams on the bubble we had were
Packers, Jets, Buccaneers, a few others.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Any key standouts there?
For the bubble teams?
Or anything at all? Anything you want to talk about quick that we didn't get to?
I didn't want to talk about how I'm not the most in on the Ravens at the moment.
Oh, you can't be. You can't be.
Not for the reasons people expect. I think when I'm looking at the penalties and how much that defense just makes the little mistakes and fuck ups that kill the offense and that kill the drive. I think they had 11 for 130 or 120 in terms of penalties against you guys. And when you look at we talked about it the week they lost week 1 when they lost to the Chiefs, that defense is just making key mistakes, stupid mistakes that could change the momentum of a game. Could you imagine if the Cowboys went and got that second onside?
Would have been over.
The Cowboys with Brandon Aubrey, bare minimum get a field goal.
Yes, they're getting a field goal.
Yes, so looking at that, I'm just not the most in on the Ravens at the moment. I can't really say I'm really in on any other teams. I'm not worried about KC at all. I'm not worried about the Bills. I'm more secured in my team and the Vikings right now. Detroit's, they always kind of have they're always due for one weird sloppy game,
right?
Where their offense just looks like shit and Goff doesn't play well. Philly's sloppy. Steelers are promising, but we still need to see more from them. In terms of the 3-0 teams, I'm most confident in Bills, KC, obviously, and then in the tier that is the teams that aren't in that same realm as those two, I'm confident in the Vikings, the other Seahawks and the Steelers, those three right there.
Yeah.
But I mean, Seahawks, I still gotta see them beat an actual good team. Like they play Detroit next Monday, and Detroit, like they go out there and win that game, they go 4-0. Then we can actually talk about the Seahawks being legit.
Yeah, that's what I need to see is the Seahawks beat the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I need to see. After you do that, then I can put some more respect and you can get higher up. But
because there's a real world where like
beat the Patriots by 3 in OT or something like that. Like I don't trust that.
But Vikings have Packers. That's a winnable game for them. They could go to 4-0. I think the Steelers can go to 4-0. I think the Seahawks can go to 4-0. They have a shot against Detroit with how, like I said, they can be.
Mm-hmm.
But more so, I think the power rankings are solid. I think they're solid.
Yeah.
I can't put the Saints down because they lost to a team that we have in the top 5.
Yeah, it's like
Close
they looked
game.
really good in those first 2 weeks. You can't be too mad at losing to the Eagles.
And I feel like it goes into like I wouldn't be mad if somebody had Texans out and had like the Jets or the Packers in because the Texans just got handled so bad. Or I can see multiple arguments on multiple different lists. It's all opinion based.
Yeah, and I still have some belief in the Texans. I think they're going to get it together.
Yeah, I think
honestly
they're going to be fine.
Just think the Vikings are a really good defense that stifles offenses. And I think C.J. Stroud's young, and I think he's still susceptible to that.
The picture of Sam Darnold to him after the game was like, life comes at you fast.
That was so funny. That was so funny.
Life comes at you fast.
Just getting taught by Sam Darnold. So yeah, I still have some belief in the Texans. I think they're going to be all right. I think that defense will only get better. So
that's kind of all I had for this episode, unless you have anything else.
No, not that I can think of.
But we can wrap it up there. Thank you guys for tuning into the Barrel Talk podcast. Hope you tune in to future episodes.
Peace out.